This video was made to connect the post-present with an understanding of the events taking place, in case I never end up reaching some arcs and events. The posts describe the same events in the colors of literary and visual images. Sorry for my poor English and drawing ability. My version will be more like the adult version of G2. I threw out a lot of content, or swapped it around to suit my story. It all starts, as we know, with one big robot. In my case, it is not very large, but it is characterized by mass shifting, so he can change his mass. So, representative of a race living longer than the universe descend on a planet inhabited by protozoa and plants. Let's talk about its structure, but not deeply, since a series of essays about the universe of Triadin will begin with it. Surprisingly, its structure is functionally identical to that of a human. His chest is equipped with a first component reactor, which takes energy from the past using Big Bang matter. The head is equipped with a computer capable of calculating the movement of molecules throughout the universe at any one moment of time. Such power is achieved by the collective mind of connecting the living and dead members of the Triadin across the endless dimensions. This system of thinking is called the living Triadin. His hand is equipped with a rod glove, giving control over the fundamental properties of the universe. The legs create all kinds of fields that can allow one to influence objects at distances within the field, and various fields also provide stability to the entire body and its indestructibility. His head does not have human sensory organs, but he senses changes in the Higgs field and other physical fields. Most of the mechanisms of his body are completely inexplicable to us, so now I am only explaining the influence on the reality that those mechanisms provide. For unknown reasons, this creature self-destructs, creating a world almost familiar to us. However, I made a few changes, as a result of which the plot of the story became simpler. But, as you already understand, it's only in terms of the amount of stories that you need to follow to understand the plot. He separates Beta Magna and Aqua Magna from the original planet, which rotate in the same orbit. Most of the former planet's water remained on the surface of one moon, creating only an archipelago of islands. The reactor of the first component is located in the crater of this planet. The rods remain on Aqua Magna, and the former legs of this creature remains on Barra Magna, which cover the entire system with fields transporting all kinds of resources, as well as performing other functions that are currently unnecessary to us. Artaka, the creative power of the Great Spirit, and Axon, his heart, remain on the Barra Magna. On Bota Magna, all the native living creatures of the planet remain, when on Aqua Magna, biomechanical mutants of the plants are later speciated, already in a spectrum familiar to us, from the little plants to the big plants. Throughout the Spirits Magna, the will of the Great Spirit remains, uniting the new life. The Matoran universe at this stage is a huge empty area. In the center, closer to the north, is Kenyanui. On it, there are clusters of canisters with Matoran and canisters with 6 Stoa at each edge of the concreted area. But the entire ecosystem has yet to be created. For this, the Makuta were created, or rather, one Makuta. It is like a slime mold that covers the entire planet with its branches, which receive information about the environment and creates rahis that could support the functioning of the entire ecosystem. Rahi are created from the billion seeds of life, essentially capsules of different sizes with nanomachines like G1 protodermis, which is capable of irreversibly taking the form of each creature, plant, ETK, with the help of a mask of control. Makuta itself is a huge, multicellular biomechanical organism with a large number of characters, smoothly flowing from one to another. Each cell differs from the next by a slight unit of character of perception, but at great distances we notice how consciousness accumulates in the necessary places that could better use the knowledge of the system to create conditions. To transfer information, the function of created a pocket dimension was included, a place where Makuta could accumulate and mix cells between the different distances at which the organism is located, and renew the process of thinking in some places. In this world, they act as an alternative to the living Triadin, that is, the brain of the Great Spirit. And they had 2 tasks before and after the awakening of all beings. Before awakening, all data processing should be concentrated on adjusting the ecosystem after the death of the Great Spirit. Therefore, they should have had a body created specifically for this. And therefore, the aging function was created in their genome, which is why they should have died by the time of awakening the Matoran universe, turning into gas and finally vaporizing, and the thought process would be replicated by the red star and would be sent to its world where the brain is located. And with the help of them, all the functions of processing data arrays and creating new ideas would be performed. However, while containing all possible thoughts and opinions, not all of the Makuta was going to die. Some cells began to die, and then, between the entire sea of thoughts, individual consciousness began to stand out. Those parts of the body that agreed with the order of things died first. Then those who simply hid from the sun died. And in the end, there were armies of those who were going to do anything not to die. These were the armies of Mesorix and Pterodax, who shared the mask of control between themselves. Before the Matoran and Ekimu awaken, Pterodax steals the mask of creation, and they begin to create bodies for the Brotherhood of Makuta, which are called beasts. Due to the fact that when actively used, the mask of creation emits a bright light of creation energy, the Makutas could not use the full potential of the mask, and working with it was equivalent to working in the center of a nuclear disaster. Therefore, Pterodax's idea was to create an artificial body from parts of Toa, so that the mask could be used unlimitedly. This is how the conflict between the Matoran, the Toa, and the Makutas started. And this is where the story starts.